crashes that happen fairly soon after people had touched it. Depends if you believe in curses or not, if you're superstitious or not, but why would you tempt fate?
If you go into Walsall Hall, that white lady's gonna get you.
Well, it was donated in 1933, so it's been here for quite a while, but this is the first occurrence of it actually moving.
It's not happened in a good 70, 80 years then?
Yeah.
Ever since I was young, the ancient world has always intrigued me. As an adult, I wanted to take my childhood interest to the next level. Stories of the supernatural and the afterlife have always surrounded ancient culture. This is something which all people are generally interested in, but none dare to try and explore these ancient and mysterious worlds. I'm going to research and go on a journey to investigate these old realms, and the stories which have shaped the way the future looks back at their past. My research has brought me here to the Manchester Museum, where recently an unusual occurrence happened. I'm here to find out what really went on. Hi, how do you do?
I'm alright.
Shall we go and have a look?
Yeah, sure.
I met with Molly, a trainee at the museum, who took me into the gallery where the event first took place.
It was quite crazy, really. There was even one man who came all the way from Mexico to see it, so it had actually gone worldwide at one point. And this is the guy that's caused all the fuss.
Ah, so here it is. So tell us what it is.
Well, it would have been a sort of token to the god Osiris, who was the god of death. He was probably one of the most famous gods.
Yeah.
It would have been a sort of gift to try and say to Osiris, look how great I am, please let me go to the afterlife. Yeah.
And how long's it been here for?
Well, it was donated in 1933, so it's been here for quite a while, but this is the first occurrence of it actually moving.
It's not happened in a good 70, 80 years then?
Yeah.
Molly was very helpful and gave me a good base of information to start my journey. My next step was to see if these kinds of things are happening elsewhere in the Northwest. I'm here at Walsall Hall in Salford, just across the water from Manchester, to see if anything supernatural or paranormal is happening in a place of English historical significance. Let's go and have a look.
Hello.
How do you do? I'm Michael.
Hello.
It's nice to meet you. Lauren is an expert in the history of Walsall Hall. She was very happy to take a walk with me and enlighten me about the ongoings in this place of historical significance.
It's the most complete medieval building in the whole of the Northwest.
Yep.
This wing here dates from the 1360s. The wing you can see there, 1512, and the far end, 1640, 1660. So it's a mixture of ages. It's the ancestral home of the Radcliffe family. I'm pretending to be one of those Radcliffes. I'm Lady Isabella Radcliffe. And we're here as a visitor attraction for people to come and see. It's free entry. And we just like to talk about the history of the building, who used to live here, what it was like. And one of the famous stories of Walsall Hall was Guy Fawkes and the gunpowder plot, and that story led rise to the legend that Guy Fawkes came here, which sadly we have no proof of, which probably means he never did. So it's just a made-up story, but made-up stories become legends, legends become facts, and a lot of the people around here still say, oh, Guy Fawkes came here, didn't he? And we're like, no, sorry, he didn't. One of the many famous stories of Walsall Hall, and my colleague inside will tell you a couple more, especially the most famous one about Lady Margaret Radcliffe, who was a real person here at Walsall Hall. And she was born in 1575 and died in 1599. And she's got quite a famous story, and she's the most famous ghost of this house, being the White Lady of Walsall Hall. And if you grew up here in Salford in the 60s, lots of kids did want to break into the hall like any kids do, and we've got the graffiti to prove it inside the building. But they'd be told off by their parents saying, if you go into Walsall Hall, that white lady's gonna get you. So it's one of those main stories of Walsall Hall that we know of that actually has got a basis of truth behind it. So, and that's what one of many things that people talk about here. There's other ghost stories as well, but those are the main ones I focus on because I know I've done a bit of research on them to try and find out the truth. And Lady Margaret, yes, we have truth for that one, but Guy Fawkes, we don't.
Vivian showed me around the inside of the building. I wanted to know more about the White Lady.
Well, she's seen quite often walking through the gardens.
Yeah.
But once the building was they decided to redo the building, then she came inside. Sounds odd, but...
Yeah.
And she very often walks up these stairs. People opposite see her, not quite as regularly now, but she's still around. I was gone up right up into the attic after it had all been done up and it was all nice and new, just to check there was nobody lingering up there. And it's a bit creepy when it's sort of dark, November-ish sort of thing. It's a bit creepy, but the lights still come on. And I just looked round, there was nothing. As I turned to go out and down, I saw this brown cloak going round the edge to go downstairs. And I thought, sure he wasn't there. There was nobody in there. And I can't... It sounds stupid, really. But things do happen. It's just one of those things. There's a little girl in the white dress that walks down those steps. There's young children come in who say to the mother, and we've heard them, please can I go and play with the little girl on the stairs? There's nobody there.
So I've been to Odsal Hall. It's surrounded in ghosts and the supernatural and spirits. It's steeped in English history. It's exciting, but I don't find it as interesting as the ancient world, so that's exactly where I'm going to stay. The treasures of the mystical past are scattered all over the northwest, even in my own backyard. I went to Warrington Museum to see if I could find any more strange phenomena. Not just relics of ancient Egypt, the museum also had antiquities from Persia, China and Japan. While there I found an unusual looking object that took my interest the moment I saw it. Mike Roberts gladly gave us time to tell me more about this artefact.
This is what we call the cursed head. It's a carved Buddhist head, and we believe it's cursed because way back in 1955, a sea captain decided to donate it to the museum. He had it in his possession, he'd acquired it when he was travelling. Now he believed it was cursed because he'd had lots of car accidents and he attributed them all to the head. Interestingly, on his way into the museum to drop it off, he had a car crash. Perhaps he was a really bad driver, but he had a car crash and decided this thing was too dangerous to touch. Bravely gave it to a friend who brought it in on foot. Delivered it to the museum. Now it sat on someone's desk for 10 years because everyone immediately bought this story that it was cursed. No one wanted to touch it. 1965, two fellas started working at the museum. They liked the head so much they wanted to put it in the gallery. So they moved it, they placed it in the gallery, and then they had a car crash and they crashed into each other on the way into work. Another weird coincidence maybe. Then about 7 years ago, someone started the museum. He decided that he wanted to photograph it. Interestingly, when he put the photos on his computer, they were all dark and the shadows were kind of obscuring it. And about 2 weeks after that, he had a car crash.
Needless to say, I didn't leave feeling as comfortable as I was when I walked in. Warrington Museum clearly has some objects with an unusual past. I think it's time, however, that I sought a more rational explanation for these objects. I have an appointment with Campbell Price, an expert in ancient Egypt, to tell me more about the most fascinating of the classical civilizations.
Hi Michael, I'm Campbell, nice to meet you. Come on in.
At the start of this journey, I came here to investigate a mysterious statue. I hope that Campbell could shed some light on its true origins.
Well, this is the spinning statue of Manchester Museum. As I say, he represents a high official of the 12th or the 13th dynasty, so about 1900 BC, so he's almost 4,000 years old. And on the back of the statue is a really nice inscription, which is a prayer to the god Osiris.
What was the real reason for its spinning?
The real reason, honestly, was a combination of vibration from traffic outside the museum on Oxford Road here in Manchester, and footfall from visitors walking on the ground. Because the stone base of the statue was not flat, it was convex. It wasn't meeting the glass on the shelf quite right, and so any subtle vibration was making it move. It was strange that it was moving in an exact circle. It wasn't wobbling to either side, but the fact we had this video from a sealed, alarmed case. Over a week we took the video, and once you sped it up, it produced this very eerie effect, but several scientists confirmed this was really just physics and friction.
Campbell was eager to show me some other small statues from ancient Egypt, which also have a connection with the afterlife.
Okay, so this, Michael, is a real Shabti from one of our storerooms. We just don't have space to display everything, so we keep most of the collection in storage.
How's the comparison between what's on the back of this statue and on the back of that, or on the front of that, sorry?
Okay, so what you've got here is a prayer, essentially. It's a request for offerings, all the things that you need in the afterlife for your spirit. So you need bread and beer and beef. That's, you know, the three big things. Yeah. And this statue could act as a vessel for your spirit in the afterlife if your body was destroyed, as opposed to a Shabti figure. We've got a rather nice extensive text, and that's a chapter from the Book of the Dead. So the Book of the Dead in reality is like a guidebook or a passport into the afterlife, and you need to know the magical spells to get past certain trials and gates. So this is one of the spells from the Book of the Dead, and this basically instructs your servant to come to life and do all the dirty work for you in the afterlife. If that statuette that had been moving was Greek or Roman, I don't think it would have got so many hits on YouTube. It's because there's this association between ancient Egypt and mystery and the unexplained. You know, one of our visitor services staff said when challenged, oh surely someone's moving the statue at night, they said, well, the only person that's in the gallery has been dead for 2,500 years. You don't get that same connection with, ultimately with human remains, mummies, with ancient Greece and Rome. And because we're fascinated by mummies, we like to think the Egyptians are obsessed with death. I mean, even today I read a story about the American actor James Gandolfini. Apparently before he died he'd gone on a visit to the Vatican museums in Rome, and there's a great Egyptology collection, and people saw a famous person, they took photos as they would with coffins and mummies and things, and then of course when he died people made this instant assumption, oh my god, he was at the museum, he was reading the Book of the Dead. I mean, that's just fantasy. It's associating two different things. Ancient Egyptian culture, which was interested in living and perpetuating life, and then our own insecurities about death and interest in mysteries. And ancient Egypt is just a very heady, sexy combination for people, and it's difficult to resist thinking about ancient Egypt and mystery.
Greece, Rome, Persia, Egypt, they're all ancient civilizations with this passion for the strange and the supernatural, gods and sacrifice. Even at the start of this journey, I myself thought that Egypt was a dark place full of death and sacrifice and decay and gods. But in actual fact, from this journey, Egypt is about preservation, it's about health, it's about vitality, and that is absolutely wonderful.